Okay, it's 4 p.m. on Thursday,
in there,
February 8th, 2018. We have a quorum, so I'll call this Public Library Board meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as everyone has printed in front of them in their packets.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Chris, any additions?
I did distribute some page of statistics that I will go over under the librarian's report. It's not available online yet, but I will make sure that that page is available online for the public.
Okay. Any other discussion, corrections? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Next, we'll go into the approval of the minutes from the January 11th, 2018 Library Board meeting. The minutes are included in the packet. Hope everyone has a chance to review them, and I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carried. Now we'll move on to the December 2017 financial report and summary, and then right after that, we'll go into the January 2018 financial report and summary. So, Chris?
Thank you. It's 2017 starts on page 7. We're completely through the year, but the budget is approximately 92.2% expended. That means we're about $61,000 underspent. There will still be adjustments for prepaid items. There will be an adjustment for salaries. The city clerk treasurer's office does that every year. They haven't done it yet. A couple of expenditures are still out. So that's not a final number. I want to point out that between audiovisual supplies, which are our DVDs, and our books, we were $173 over budget in 2017. So I thought that that wasn't too bad. The additional audiovisual supplies was the grant that paid for the microfilm. We received the money in 2016, expended it in 2017. So that's the big difference in percentage. I'd be happy to answer any questions about 2017. Okay, 2018 starts on page 15. We're 8.49% through 2017. Our budget is about 6.53% expended. You know, there's nothing really meaningful at this time of the year. We haven't had any major expenditures, nothing unusual here. Again, I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you have.
All right, thanks, Chris. Now then, we'll move on to the librarian's report, starting with the library department activities report and statistics. Chris?
Thank you. That's on page 23. Had a discussion with our fire chief about continuing to work on the cataloging and digitizing of their items. The fire chief has recruited 4 volunteers to start looking through their thousands of photos, and I have a template created for them. I'll do a little bit of training to get those cataloged. So we're just continuing with that project, and we're going to meet quarterly to keep discussing what's next. The city recently honored several of the library staff for their years of service. They hit some milestones. Library assistant Betty Roiger reached 35 years, library page Linda Kilmer 10 years, and library aide Sue Otto 5 years. So congratulations to them, and we're grateful for their years of service. The Life Living series with Tony Shuda that was scheduled for January 22nd was rescheduled to April 24th because of the weather. Speaking of the weather, we did close at 3 p.m. that day. And then we spent quite a bit of time getting 2 of the staff people out of the parking lot because the snow was so deep. It was an interesting day. We had 100 people in the library that day, too.
Wow.
Yeah. Really? Mm-hmm. Friends of the Library Board met January 29th, approved several requests, $200 for Lego supplies, $200 for summer reading program prizes. Now, just a note on that, The budget includes up to $3,000 for programming. Most of that goes to the summer reading program. However, by state statute, prizes, incentive prizes, cannot exceed about $5. So that's why we get funds from the Friends of the Library for those grand prizes. So things like last year, did she have some kits that I'm not quite sure what she purchased, but those are for, $20, $25 grand prizes. That's why we asked the Friends for that. And the Friends donated $350 for a program by paranormal researcher Chad Lewis and $100 for New Ulm High School's Poetry Slam. And every year we ask the Friends to use their 501c3 designation to request summer reading program donations from professional sports teams, local businesses, and organizations. That is a requirement of some of them, and the Friends are always very generous in doing so. This year's Poetry Slam, it'll be the second one at New Ulm High School on February 15th. We have 2 library staffers, our youth services librarian Jan Caveney and youth aide Amy Eveslog, who will be a volunteer judge, and I believe they do some writing as well. And there's some other local volunteers, adult volunteers who will be involved. The NARN are coming this February 10th on Saturday from 9:30 to 10:30 for Foshing. This is an annual event with the NARN. It's always well received by the public, and then this year they're going to march straight from the library down to the Glockenspiel to start the parade. Lego Club started on January 20th in the children's room. There were 53 people. There will be another one in March, and Jan's working on getting that regularly scheduled. We've had a lot of donations of Legos and Duplos, and then the Friends donated some funds for the Lego supplies, including the base plates that you use to build. So thanks to everybody who's been donating those Legos and Duplos. April and I attended training and were certified for Incident Command System for expanding incidents. We will go next week for the next level. This is driven by the city and some eligibility for grants. Certain people within the city need to have this designation. So we were 2 of about 15 people who attended that training. And then April, Jan and I got training from Park and Rec staff to utilize its online registration system. We're hoping to use this for the summer reading program to get away from all the paper. And we're also looking at it to book our meeting room. So they're very generous in letting us use their license, and so far the training went well. We have the Ancestry Library Edition class in April set up online as a test to see how things go. And so we're asking folks to register online there. In April, Jan and I can help people as well. If you have a Park and Rec account, that works to register for library classes. Federal tax forms have started to arrive. It is the overwhelmingly most popular question at the library right now. We have 1040EZs, we have 1040EZ forms, we have 1040 forms and instructions. And we put them out as soon as we get them. We just don't know when they will arrive. So the A's are what people are looking for, and then the easy instructions.
Where do you get them from?
We order them from the IRS.
There.
Yeah, our reference librarian, Lisa Sieve, does that. Minnesota does not send tax forms on paper anymore, but we can print things. We do charge 25 cents a page for those.
So do you get them like in bulk then when you get them from the IRS?
We do. We got 4 boxes, and I believe 3 of them were 1040 instruction booklets. Yes, we get them in
Charge
bulk.
for that? Or
No, there's no charge for that. Yeah. Many libraries no longer provide tax forms. We've continued to do it as a service to the public. We'll keep doing it as long as they provide them to us.
Seems like there's a need. People are wanting them, so.
And then our library page, Jordan Reinhardt, who was at the library for about 1.5 years, resigned her position, so we wish her the best. Oh, it was pointed out to me that there's an error on page 24 under the adult programs. The very first 2 items, the attendance was swapped. So the Vietnam War on December 27th had 19 people, and Sci-Fi Fantasy Book Group had 4. We would love to have 19 people at our Sci-Fi Fantasy Book Group, but that's not the case.
All right, so you're
And
gonna segue right into programming then, or what do you wanna do?
Let me just mention these statistics.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's after the librarian's report. You see circulation was down in January compared to the previous couple of years. And overdrive circulation was up, but not by too much for January. We do usually see pretty good circ on overdrive in January because people are getting new devices and they want to try out the service. Our Userful, which is our public computer system, had a big uptick in 2017, but we're back down to 1,100 for January of 2018. I printed statistics and passed those out today. Our wireless statistics, we had 2,100. We're averaging about 2,000 for wireless use every month. And next month, I will be able to do a comparison of 2017, 2018, because we started counting these wireless statistics in February of a year ago. And then brand new, we're able to track door count. We've got door counters, and they started right at the beginning of January. We have 3 door counters at our entrances, and for the month of January, we had 7,200 people. And if you extrapolate that, that means that our attendance is going to be much higher than when we were just estimating. I'm really happy with the system so far. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the report or the statistics.
Can you tell me what the difference is between a library assistant and a library aide and a library page?
Sure. Different classifications that have different job responsibilities. So we actually have a library assistant 1 designation, and that's what Betty Roiger is. She's full-time. It is a full-time position where there is some supervisory responsibilities within that. Betty is also in charge of we call her acquisitions librarian. Her technical term is library assistant, but she's the one who handles all the books and does copy cataloging. She oversees our pages. She has some reference responsibilities. Now, if you look at it as a hierarchy, a library aide is a step down from that. That's a part-time position. They do customer service at the desk. So they're answering the phones, they're checking materials in and out. They don't have any personnel responsibilities. And then a library page, if you're looking at the hierarchy, it's another step down. They are shelvers. We do have a position that's a library assistant 2 that is not filled at this time. The job description for that position would include some of the things that are doled out to others of us, like claims, inputting claims, doing some data entry things, working with donations. We just filter that out among all of us. But that position, if we were to fill it, would have some of those responsibilities.
All right, anything else then for the activity, the library department activities or just statistics? If not, we'll move on to programming then.
Okay, and I'm pinch hitting for April. And coming up, we have February 20th at 6:30 p.m., Minnesota Valley Civil War Roundtable. Terry Sweeney will be talking about Francis Bosson, who is a local note related to the National Guard. Is that right?
I believe
I
so.
believe so, yeah.
Been a
And
while.
right, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. It's the final Vietnam series screening, and actually we're finishing tonight with the PBS series by Ken Burns, but April was able to get the rights to show Last Days in Vietnam, which was a documentary that was had an Academy Award nomination for Best Documentary. And Greg Peterson from Brown County Services will be there that evening as well. February 27th, we're going to hear from local author Jim Heath. He'll be talking about his book, The Meaning of Math. Our Hubble series continues on the first and third Thursdays of the month at 6:30 p.m. So we'll meet next Thursday, and that's the 15th, and then we'll meet again on the 1st of March and the 15th of March. And our needlework group and our art group continues to meet on Wednesdays. The needlework group, the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 9:30, and the art group is every Wednesday at 2 p.m., and that's down in our meeting room, and that's open to the public. And all of our programs are on our website, newulmlibrary.org, including the times for Jan's story times, which are Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m., Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. She just did a bedtime story time last night, and that's in collaboration with ECFE, so the final one of the season will be March 14th at 6 o'clock. They start with some activities, and then story time with Janice at 6:30, and everybody's welcome to come to that. I'd be happy to answer any questions about programming.
All right, then we'll move on to the staffing update.
Our library aide and library page positions are still open. You register or apply for those online only now. And they both close on February 11th. We will be interviewing for the library aide position first because there's some overlap in people applying for both positions. So we're going to start with the aide, and then we'll work down to the page. I've heard from the HR director that there are many, many applications for both positions. We're really happy to have a good pool of candidates to choose from.
Now, these full-time positions, part-time?
They're very part-time positions. The aide is about 13 hours a week, including Monday night, all day Wednesday, and then every fourth Saturday all day. The page position is about 10 hours a week. It's every third Saturday. So these are very part-time positions.
Okay. All right, then hearing no other discussion on that, let's move on to library cards for students update.
Letting you know that Ann Hokinson, the director at TDS, and Seth Erickson, he's the automation coordinator at TDS, and I met with Paul Henn, who's the director of learning services at New Ulm Public Schools, to talk about implementing library cards for students at the public schools. Just an introduction. We spent about 45 minutes talking about some of the things we've talked about. I shared the draft contract that we had previously worked up with MVL, which there's been no change with MVL. We haven't had any discussions with them. So that's why we started talking with New Ulm High School to see if they would be interested. Paul indicates that if this were to move forward, he would recommend doing it just at the middle school level to start with. It's a smaller group of students. It'd be students then who would continue on. So we would be doing the initial training with those students and then not having to worry about the training as they continue on through their career. I'll keep you posted as I hear more. I believe Ann at TDS has talked at Martin County School, perhaps with Jenny Truszynski, the director at Martin County. I just saw Ann's report to the library board or to the TDS board, and I believe that she's talking to other schools to see if they want to be a beta tester of this system.
Are there any schools out there that you know of that do this?
Oh, yes, just not around here.
Have anybody talked to any of them?
I have not. I know Seth has. Seth from TDS.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not the technical piece was what was holding this up for so long, because these systems have to talk to each other. That part's been worked out. It's, matching goals for the schools and the public libraries so that we're sharing outcomes and matching what do we want from this, what do they want from this, and can we make that work?
All right, and then now we'll get an update on the Brown County Commissioners meeting. Chris?
And I did put in the packet that we provided to the Brown County Commissioners. Now, this was from the 5 Brown County Public Library directors. We met with the Brown County Commissioners this last Tuesday just to present to them what you supported last month, which was the platform for Minnesota Library Association. And they were very positive. I expect them to take action with a formal resolution at their next meeting, which is February 20th. I'm working with the county administrator to put together a formal resolution in their language. We're actually, it was done at Martin County just this week, and so they have a formal resolution template that we can use. So working with Chuck Enter on that. And then I've just provided to our city manager a request for city council action that they support this platform as well. And so I'll be speaking to the city council on February 20th in the evening.
All right, thanks, Chris. Now we'll move on to the action items. We got 4 of them today. The first one starts on page 37. It's resolution number 2018-04, first reading and adoption, accepting donation of bench for Wandagog sculpture area. The Wandagog Monument Committee, a 501c3 organization, requests that the library board accept its donation of a bench that will be installed in the Wandagog sculpture area located outside the library. The bench was donated to the committee by Hobart and Charlotte Anderson, and it was created by Artstone of New Ulm and will be inscribed as follows: "Enjoy the view, Hobart and Charlotte Anderson." The bench is identical to the bench donated by the McRae family, which was accepted by the library board in 2017. A photograph is attached. So I will accept a nomination or a motion to accept the donation of the bench for the Wandagog sculpture area.
I will make a motion to accept the donation of the bench.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Chris, was this solicited from them? And the other question I have is, having a second bench, was that part of the original landscape or design for the front of the building?
The answer to both questions is yes. When the committee has been looking at that space, they wanted multiple benches. In fact, at one point there was talk of 3, but given the limited space, 2 seems reasonable. And Charlotte and Hobart are longtime supporters of Wandagog at the Wandagog House Association. They have been supportive of the sculpture project from the beginning, and so, yes, that's how this came about.
So a final design on the layout of the sculpture area hasn't been defined yet, but we know that they're going to incorporate 2 benches into it.
That is correct. My understanding about the landscaping is at an upcoming meeting, which there are 3 of you on the landscaping committee. I'll let you know when that date is, but that Tony Gugesberg wants to be in attendance at that meeting. He's looking at the slope of the area, which can provide some challenges to making it ADA accessible.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. All right, any other further discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next resolution is on page 39. It's resolution number 2018-05, first reading and adoption, for approving the implementation of 2018 to 2022 strategic plan. The library's strategic planning committee requests that the library board approve implementation of the 2018 to 2022 strategic plan. The attached document represents a 5-year strategic plan for New Ulm Public Library that prioritizes goals that reflect the New Ulm community. This plan includes a new mission statement, why we exist, values, what we value, and vision statement, what we want to be. These are the foundation for the 2 goals that have been developed. Within the broad goals are objectives that are easily measured and achievable. To reach the objectives, activities have been identified and assigned both an implementation date and staff member who will assume primary responsibility. The library began the strategic planning process in fall 2017. A 9-member committee of representatives from the library staff, the New Ulm Public Library Board, and Friends of the New Ulm Public Library Board met 7 times between September and December. Public input was received through a library use assessment survey conducted in the spring of 2017. In addition, the committee shared information regarding the ongoing process online and in the local media. 2 posters documenting the committee's work were displayed in the library, and public feedback was received and reviewed by the committee. The entire library staff had the opportunity to respond throughout the process, and every staff member was required to provide information related to the activities defined by the committee. If approved, the strategic plan will be implemented immediately and reviewed annually by staff and the library board. So there's a few pages of this which basically explains the document, shows the goals, the objectives and the goals, and then it also has it in a pretty easy to read table format, which lays out all the various activities that are under each objective, which are under the 2 main goals. So it's a very nicely prepared package, but I'm not going to go into reading everything in it. So hopefully you've had the opportunity to read through it.
I just wanted to say that I'm really impressed with this. I know how difficult this is, so thank you to the committee that completed all of this. And I just love the fact that it's based on community input, statistics, surveys, that sort of thing. It's just, and like Vince said, it's very readable, but it's very well done.
As a part of the committee, I'd like to recognize and thank the staff, especially those who participated on the committee, as well as those who added their input to it, and our library director, whose great skill of shepherding the project, I think, was critical in making this a real living document for the future for the library. So thank you to you and your staff, Chris.
Thank you, Carl.
All right, so then I will entertain a motion to approve the implementation of the 2018 to 2022 strategic plan.
I so move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Questions? All right, hearing none, then all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the third resolution for today is on page 51. Resolution number 2018-06, first reading and adoption, accepting Memory Lab Network grant. The library was accepted into the Memory Lab Network as part of the DC Public Library's Institute of Museum and Library Science Services National Leadership Grant. New Ulm Public Library was identified as a project partner and will spend 1 year creating personal archiving stations and programs for our communities following the DCPL model. The DC Public Library Memory Lab is a digitization lab and digital preservation resource created as a local response to the national needs for free public access to tools and information on caring for personal digital archives. Memory Lab Network partners will receive training, mentoring, and financial support to create the digitization stations and curriculum to build public knowledge and skills around the problems of personal digital archiving through their own Memory Lab programs. As part of the program, the library director and reference librarian will travel to Washington, D.C. the week of April 15th, 2018 for training.
Cool.
So I will accept entertain a motion to accept the Memory Lab Network grant.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions?
Yeah, I do have one here. Is this, if I want to come in and have my family stuff digitalized, is that what we're talking about here?
That is what we're talking about. It will be us teaching you how to digitize
How
your
to do it
items.
all.
At this point, I don't know what equipment we're going to receive. I have ideas about what I would like to get, but I'm not sure about the reality at this point. We're going to have a conference call with next week, and we'll be out there in April, and we'll see how this all turns out. But right now, my goal is to put it up on the second floor where the old reference desk used to be. I think that's a good spot for a year as we see how it's used. We can be flexible after that. We do have space in our meeting room area where the low vision area is as well. So we have space in the library for this kind of equipment.
You're gonna have one person who's gonna really be,
It's Lisa and me, so there's two of
Okay,
us.
so
We
there'll
had to
be two of
identify
you.
two people.
okay.
So by approving this, then, are we also then approving your travel for that, or are we gonna have to do that again, or how does that work?
No, that's all covered by the grant.
Oh,
So
so-
by accepting this grant, you're accepting all the equipment we end up getting and the travel, and that's all
not a bad
incorporated.
deal then.
I'm sorry?
It's not a bad deal if you get free travel out there and,
I am so thrilled to get this. I think this community will appreciate what we set up for them. And I found out that there were 35 libraries that applied for the grant, and we're one of 7 that were chosen. Really large libraries, small libraries, and a whole, both coasts, and I think we're the only one in the upper Midwest.
is that a testament in part to April's grant writing skills and such, or is it, or did you take care of this one, or?
Well, I'm the one who, it was a team effort. I got a lot of help from April and from Sue Ullery and from Lisa Sieve. Yeah.
Great.
So you say any equipment would also come, that wouldn't be really any cost to us?
There's no cost to us.
Okay.
The cost to us is after a year, we're expected to continue to support the equipment. And of course, then we have to provide the electricity and the cable, some of the cabling, sure.
Chris, does a grant cover in addition to your travel, your compensation during the time you're gone, or does it?
No, that is what you will be, the library or the city will continue to pay our salary for that week that we're gone.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion or questions? All right, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any motion carried. The final resolution is on page 52, resolution number 2018-07. First reading and adoption, accepting Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants for programs. In January 2018, the library was awarded Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants in the amount of $300, Armstrong Brass Quintet, April 2018, and $400, Concert in the Park, Lance Dale and Jeremy Poland, June 2018, from Traverse to Sioux Library Cooperative. So I will entertain a motion to accept the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants for these programs.
So move. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All right, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, any other business, Chris?
Yes.
Uh-oh, we had other business.
I read the TDS Executive Director's notes today. She just sent them out, and it indicates that our own Holly Postel is secretary of the TDS board. And I wanted to share that with the group, that she's the secretary and she's on the executive committee. So thanks for serving, Holly.
Congratulations.
Did you have to take notes and everything? You don't have someone to do
No,
that for you?
staff does that. I just have to sign them.
And I will be at Library Legislative Day. It begins the evening of March 5th, and then the day is March 6th. So I've been working on the statewide legwork committee for it and have done some logistics. And so I will be out of town the afternoon of the 5th, and I'll be back on the evening of the 6th. I had mentioned it in past years about going up there and talking to our legislators. My understanding at this point is that Representative Torkelson will not be available to speak with library folks that day, and that Senator Dames is not sure at this point. So we don't have any appointments set with our own legislators that day.
All right. Anything else from anyone? All right, hearing none, then meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.